Namaste everyone. In this video, we're going to understand Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 1.45. And in this particular Yoga Sutra, Muni Patanjali is helping us to understand what happens in deeper stages of meditation and what is the aim of meditation as described in a lot of yogic texts. So let's look at the sutra and start breaking it up step by step to understand it even further. The sutra itself goes, Sukshma Vishayatvan Chalinga Paryavasanam. So this is the Sutra 1.45. Now let's break it up word by word and understand it a little bit better. So the first word here is Sukshma Vishayatvan, which is Sukshma refers to subtle and Vishayatvan means the subjectness or the subjectedness or something having a topic or subject. So it's referring to the subtle element of the subjects that we've chosen and how the understanding of our subject of meditation becomes more and more subtle over time. Then moving to the next step, we have cha, which is just a syllable that indicates and. And then finally, we have a unique word over here called Alinga. And this is a very special word. We're going to basically understand this term throughout this sutra. And Alinga refers to something which does not have an attribute, which cannot be defined, which doesn't even have a symbol. It's just a state of attributelessness, if that's a word. And that's kind of the key term in this sutra that we're going to understand. And the final word is Paryavasana, which of course over here means culmination or an end point or leading up to. So now that we've understood each of the words and we've heard the sutra, let's break it up even further and understand its explanation. Alright, so now let's look at what exactly is the sutra trying to tell us. Well, in Sutra 1.45, Muni Patanjali is explaining to us that as we go deeper in our states of meditation, we start experiencing objects so subtly that they might end up reaching a stage where they cannot have any attribute and they actually end up reaching the Alinga stage, which is also very close to the end point of an understanding of an object. Now here, to understand this sutra, we need to have a little bit of an understanding of the Sankhya theory of yoga. Now the Sankhya theory in brief talks about two primordial elements, the Purusha and the Prakriti. Purusha is the spirit or the spiritual element, as we can say, to simplify things. And Prakriti is the natural, the nature element, the thing that gives everything shape and form. And when these two merge together, they give rise to life, both living and non-living. Everything around us is made of some sort of a merger between these two elements. So when we're meditating or in very deep stages of yogic practice, we are going almost against the grain of evolution. So evolution is Prakriti evolving, and Purusha, Prakriti merging and life happening further and deeper. And as you go backwards in this process, you try to understand the subtle stages through which evolution happened. And then you actually reach a point where you may understand the subtle stage of Alinga, where Purusha and Prakriti first merge together. Now, this is of course very difficult to understand just through words like this, but that's essentially what we're trying to do in the Alinga stage. We're doing counter evolution, going backwards to the point where the Purusha and Prakriti actually merged. Now, of course, you can do this either with a separate object that you're trying to understand how and when it's Purusha Prakriti merged, or even with subtleness within yourself that you're trying to focus on. But essentially what the sutra is trying to tell us is this Alinga stage is quite important. When we go deeper into this theory, there are different ways of understanding the stages. Prakriti, of course, has several different elements, all right? So just to give you a brief understanding, there is Manas, Buddhi, Ahankar, which is your mind, intellect, and ego. And then you also have your limbs of action. You have your 5 sense organs. There are the 5 elements that we have in nature. and so on and so forth in the different realms of nature. So this is all obviously nature's doing, and it's something that evolves from nature. So when you start going backwards from this, from these Vishesha sections into the Avishesha parts, which are not so specific, like the Mahat, Buddhi and Ahankar, then even going back into the Linga Matra, which is basically the Mahat section, or where there's just a symbolic union of Purusha and Prakriti, and then finally going to the Alinga stage, where we actually see that there's attributelessness, and the Purusha and Prakriti, probably maybe we can understand them as two separate entities. So this is sort of this backward process that we conduct in meditation, where we go to the minutest point of union to understand the complete totality of Purusha and Prakriti, and really to understand how this object has come about in its true essence. Now, this is obviously very challenging. We don't really see too many yogis who are able to do this in today's day and age. And that's why oftentimes it seems like a crazy, when we even hear it, we're just like, how is this even possible? But I think it's just because we don't have too many live examples. And even if there are live examples, they choose not to be very publicly known, which is kind of why we don't really hear about them. But this is sort of what the sutra is trying to tell us about this entire process. And eventually it's very closely linked with the theory of Sankhya. And hopefully we're going to make a video on that in the future, so that Sankhya theory will become clear, and so that this sutra will also become very clear to you. So that's it for this Sutra 1.45. In the upcoming sutras, we're going to look at the meanings of Samadhi and the different kinds of Samadhi that Muni Patanjali has explained. So if you found this video useful, please leave some comments in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. And also please do share our video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated for more such philosophy conceptual videos. We look forward to seeing you in our next class or in the next video. And until then, take care. We're going to see you very soon. Namaste.